Hi, this is Zap, and welcome to the Reset and Zap podcast.
I just need a reset. No, it's not enough to press pause. I think I need a reset. I need a reset. Reset.
Welcome to the Reset and Zap podcast. I am your host, Zap, and with me is my co-host.
Hey, everybody, what's up? It's your boy TJ.
And who do we got in the building?
Well, today we got a special guest in the building.
Ooh.
We got the big boss of the Switch Mob.
Oh, okay.
MSM artist, known for such tracks as Arcade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Street Fighter.
Ooh.
We have the VG Mobster in the building. How you doing, man?
What's good? What's going on, everybody? It's the VG Mobster here. Zap and TJ, thanks for having me on the podcast. I'm super hyped. It's going to be a great year, and I'm just so happy that you guys invited me to come on, and I'm happy to share my thoughts with you and contribute to this awesome podcast that I'm a big fan of. So really excited.
It's exciting because for the very first time, can I just point this out before I break down the topics we're going to talk about?
Okay.
We're all from the East Coast.
Yeah, that's true. We all East Coasters.
Right.
So we got East Coast representing.
Yeah, VA in the building. Let's go. We got New York. We got New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go. So I'm really excited for today's, it's going to be a very special episode because in this episode, we're breaking down some real life topics, real life discussions, but then we're going to have a lighthearted conversation, of course, surrounding gaming because it is our favorite hobby at the end of the day.
This is true.
So just to give you an idea, guys, of what we're going to be talking about today, and you guys can chime in and be a part of the discussion. So I kind of want you to put your thinking caps because there's a lot to dissect and break down today. So we're going to start it off with our Chef Kiss, where we're going to talk about all good things when it comes to parenthood. How do we feel, as parents? How is parenting nowadays, raising our kids, and the challenges that it brings, with our modern day era, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then we're going to transition into Reset. And this one I'm really excited because we're going to think about a gaming world, right?
Okay.
Or it could be any type of world. It doesn't necessarily have to be within gaming. It could be, movies, films, comics, you name it. But we're going to select one world that if you can live in any set universe, which one would it be and why?
Okay.
So excited for this. I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting.
It's going to be a really meaty chicken sandwich segment.
Here we go.
I stand by the chicken
again.
Sandwich.
Yeah.
Burger time for life.
Hashtag chicken sandwich. But of course, we have other surprises down the pipe. So without further ado, let's start off with our Chef Kiss. Do you mind starting us off with our Chef Kiss?
Okay, I got you.
Okay, look at this. Chef Kiss, yes. Chef Kiss. Cheffy Kiss. So it's really interesting because it's the very first time that all of us here, including our special guest, is parents. We're all parents.
Yeah.
We all got them kids.
Yes,
We're all raising. So first of all, I kind of want to break it down in how does it feel to be a parent in 2024 and so forth, and what are some of the challenges you've faced when it comes to parenthood and raising kids? Like, how is it different, from back in the day to now?
Okay. Well, I think we'll let our guests go first. How does it feel being a parent in 2024, Mr. VG?
It's got its challenges. It has its joys as well. Like my kids are the light of my life. I love them to death. They make me a better person. They challenge me. They force me to grow and to become a better person, because I have to be a better person for them to grow and develop.
Facts.
So, you know what I mean? So they push me to become better and not settle and be complacent. You know what I mean? I think that's like the biggest thing for me, because I feel sometimes when you're just, by yourself, you don't have kids, like, you get really complacent and you're just kind of, doing the routine every day. I feel like with kids, it's always something new. They're bringing in different perspectives of the world. They're bringing in new topics, new, things that you wouldn't even think about, that you have to kind of understand to keep up with them. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like I have, just so the audience knows, I have a 12-year-old and I have a 6-year-old. So it's, you get different perspectives, and it's really interesting to see, how each one is, growing, and the different challenges and obstacles and things that you have to, learn to deal with for both of them, even though there's a 6-year gap, which is, it gives a big perspective, a different perspective. Yeah. So I have one that, like I said, that's 12, that's, going more into the teenage years. And then it's funny because I still remember her as the 6-year-old.
Oh God.
So it's like, it's weird, because like I see like the changes between them, and I have to remember that, one is getting older and, different, has different, interests and hobbies and, levels of attachment to parents than the 6-year-old does, even though that at some point she was like that. So it's just really, like adjusting to both, but it's good because, I get different perspectives. And then when I meet her, like everybody's like, there are 2 individual friend groups, you kind of see, even more perspectives of like what kids are, doing. Like, I mean, I think, Zap, like you were saying, one of the things that I think is so different from when we were growing up is just like the amount that kids interact with and the influence of technology.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It is insane. Just like I see I'll start from the 6-year-old perspective, is that just like all the different technological tools they have for learning now that we just didn't have, and to them this is what they're growing up with, so it's normal for them, and they just kind of expect us to know, like, oh yeah, Dad, this program, right, that I do this and this, and like, oh yeah, and then in school we were like going on the interactive whiteboard and we were learning with this, with these tools, and I'm like, I didn't have these tools. I had I had the little screechy blackboard, you know what I mean?
Yeah, nice
like,
little chalkboard.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then, I mean, I had one cool teacher who had like the dry erase board, like he was like, like trendy guy, but everybody else had the blackboard, so it's like, so it's like, so, and to them, it's like, just second nature. Like when they go in the libraries, like they're reading books and stuff, but they're also doing interactive lessons on iPads and computers. And then they also have like a STEM lab here where they're like doing digital coding basics and stuff. So like, it's just the way that technology is integrated so much earlier in their, in their growth. I think that's a huge difference from when we were kids, and then on my 12, for my 12-year-old side, I mean, she's got, it's kind of like when you get a prize, you get all of what she had and then more, like, so she's, grew up with that as well. And now she's adding on top of that, the technology for social, that all her friends bring in. So like, like the TikToks and, X and, like Snapchat and Instagram and all that. And you see how all of that kind of interacts and kind of feeds into all their social activity. And that's how they kind of connect now. Even when a lot of her friends are within 2 blocks of each other, but just the technology, that's how they bring it together, like doing TikTok dance videos, that they post together. I'm just saying, like this is real. Like they literally come to my house. They come to my house and they do, like in the living room, they'll literally do like the 4 of them lined up, and they'll do like mimic a TikTok dance that they had, and they'll post it on there. Like, and then that's how they kind of bond. You know, like that's one of their activities. Like when I was a kid, like, yeah, we played 4-player N64, but like that was like way different than this. Like it's just the level that technology is in. And again, as everybody knows, it's for better and for worse. Like I'm not going to say it's all for the better. So I'm also not going to say it's all for the worse, you know? I think it just to me, like just seeing it every day, and then from 2 different age groups, you really see how much it affects the kids and how integrated it is into their lifestyle and their everyday routine, which we definitely didn't have, you know, like until like, I mean, I was probably like college really until it was like we were so integrated like that. So yeah, just so to me, that's like the biggest thing I think with parenting, but you know, you just got to learn to like, oh no, it's like with everything, like with moderation, like everything, it's like, you know, just learning how to like moderate it, let them have fun, but also don't let it be, you know, take over and stop them from just going outside, you know, playing, you know, just riding bikes and going outside, doing sports, extracurricular activities. Like, you know, we have them in dance classes, swim teams and stuff like that, just so they're not, you know, always constantly on that. But I think at the same time, I mean, especially from us, like you guys are content creators. I also do it as well. You know, it's important to us too, but it's just doing it and having the right balance. I think that's another
key word there is balance.
The key balance, you know? So I think that's for me. Yeah, that's for me.
Oh, 100%. So what about you, Ms. ZapCristal? You've been a mother for most of your YouTube career. So.
Jesus Christ, have I? So just to give a little bit of background, because I know a lot of people know that I have a kid, but I don't think people really understand how long I've been a mom, right? Yeah. So I became a mom as early as when I was 18. That's when I had my oldest son, Jade. And he's currently going to be now 15 years old this year. So
goes so fast.
It's crazy because the challenges I now have to face, you know, with him as a 15-year-old basically is so drastically different from the challenges I faced myself when I was a teenager. You know, like VG said, back in the day, you know, I had the internet, but internet was so new.
Correct.
Back in the 90s that we didn't have the amount of accessibility and resources that nowadays kids have. Like I had AOL, you know, and
you got me.
That was basically my messenger.
Hey, those were my coasters growing up. I'm just saying, those are my coasters.
Oh yeah, the mouse pads. Oh, I had a couple of AOL mouse
the little
pads.
CDs, the little downloads.
Yeah, the little, you know 10 free hours.
Yeah, and it's like I had AOL. I played solitaire on my computer. The little pinball machine, the pinball game that used to be my favorite actually back in the 90s.
Minesweeper.
Minesweeper, yeah. And, you know, encyclopedias were luxury items. So they were super expensive still back in the 90s. And luckily, a friend of my dad gifted us a whole set of encyclopedias. And that's how I would do my homework. I would do my research and pretty much do all of my schoolwork. I know I'm dating myself, but that's literally how school was back in the day. You know, so now seeing kids being able to pretty much Google anything and get instant information, you know, about basically any topic is
crazy.
Is also bringing quite a bit of a challenge for me as a parent, because now I'm having to teach my kids learning how to find, you know, sources, basically trying to figure out if this is a reliable website, you know, trying to differentiate between false information and accurate factual information, you know, when doing research for school, or, you know, if they're going to participate in a discussion, like, do you have the correct information and data for whatever you're backing up, you know, your beliefs, your point of view in life, anything, you know, anything that may arise, basically, especially nowadays when, you know, as a teenager, it's so hard. Like peer pressure is actually a real thing. And I feel like it's harder now.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm just going to say too, I also see from my 12-year-old, there is a lot more focus on mental health
Yes.
ever
Oh yeah.
than what we've had. So I think that's kind of what you're leaning into a little bit. I totally
Yes.
see that as well, you know?
Yeah, peer pressure is like a real thing. Like you said, social media can be a good thing, but it also can be a very dangerous tool for a minor that doesn't, they're still developing their emotions. They're trying to, define their own personality, trying to understand, their limits, their boundaries, self-control overall. And if they don't have like the correct guidance, unfortunately, this can lead to, addictions, suicidal thoughts, unfortunately, we've had cases of teenagers that can't handle it. They're going through stuff and they decided to take that option, and it's really sad that they took their life away at a very young age. So not that I'm really trying to be too negative about it, but it also is like VG said, like trying to bring that balance and having these hard but like deep provoking talks with your kids and preparing them, because school will do only so much.
Yeah.
But you as a parent, like your major role is getting them prepared for the real world. So, installing, those real life skills, preparing them to learn something as simple as finances. You know what I mean? Like understanding what a credit card does, how to take care of your credit, how to change a tire, cooking, sewing, like so many skills that sometimes, obviously a traditional school will not offer, but it's your responsibility as a parent of, teaching those things to your kids.
Yeah. That's very true. Very, very true. For me, my perspective is a little different because I come from a different angle. Whereas I've been a father, but I've been a stepfather for a lot of children. So I've come into a lot of situations where I've met people who had children, and I would help raise those kids with them. And you still run into those same challenges, but there's also even an additional layer on there because you have to make that connection with that child in order for them to really accept you, So that's that extra layer of, you're not my dad type stuff, which happens, which is understandable because you don't know what these kids go through having to grow up without a parent. Because, from my personal experience, I grew up without my father for a long time, which was for those of you who may not know, I am half Nigerian, half African-American. So my father is actually from Nigeria and my mother is actually from New York. So for me, I lost part of my identity not having my father around to teach me about my Nigerian cultures and the things that I, would have had he been around. So I understand what other kids go through when they deal with that. So it's like you guys were saying about, how much technology has advanced and how much this stuff is normalized now.
Yeah.
And it's just like everything is just normalized. So you have to step in and be like, okay, I know you may see this everywhere and I know this may be a thing, but this is not how we do it in this household. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of have to set your ground rules and your barriers, because in the outside world, pretty much everything is open to them, because you said the internet and social media and just everything.
Cell phones,
tablets,
connected.
TVs, like everything is connected to the internet in some kind of way that can bring outside information outside of your home into your home. So you kind of have to mediate and curate what you allow your children to watch and what you allow your children to do, because like I said, the plate is open for them to get into anything.
Oh yeah.
And for me, it's even scarier because I got a new little one coming into the world soon. So it's like,
congratulations again.
Thank you. This will be my first biological child. So, that's a whole new thing I'm going to have to learn myself.
Talk about challenges, because in my case, it's like, it's our first kid, but then it's even funnier for me because, for me, it's my third kid. This is for a lot of you guys that do or do not know, this is what I call my rainbow kid. Previously I was pregnant, but I had dealt with a miscarriage. So now
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so it's a topic that usually, people don't cover, but now with my third pregnancy going well, this is, my rainbow baby. So, but what's funny about it is, like I mentioned earlier, Jay's almost 15 years old. So me being 6 months to 7 months pregnant now, and just thinking about the idea of here we go again, I'm starting all over again after 15 years, and it sounds dumb, but even like researching maternity items, he'll laugh and I'll be like, wow, this is so different. This is like, where was this when I had Jade, and to now having Leon.
It's a huge change.
Oh,
Once again, technology, man.
Yeah, like it's something.
It's not even technology. It's just like you were saying, like just like advances and things that they just have now that you just never were available. Weren't available.
Like something as simple as years ago, 15 years ago to be exact, in order to find out about the gender, you usually had to wait like 4 or 5 months in advance to find out if you're going to have a boy, a girl, twins, whatever the case may be. Now, with Leon's pregnancy, we found out super early. Like, when did we find out? Like, before?
I think like 2 months.
2 months, and it was only 2 months in, and we had already found out its gender. And I asked the doctor, I was like, where was this test? They're like, well, way before you had your kid, a couple of years after you had your kid, this just came out, this exam came out, and it allows parents to find out the baby's gender, way faster than how typically it was done. So something as simple as that, it's drastically different nowadays.
For sure it is. Oh, and for those of you who don't know, the baby's name is Leon. She said it, but I don't. For the viewers and listeners, our son's name is going to be Leon.
Yeah, which leads to what is our current challenge? Because we're talking about, separate you, me, VG, but what is our current challenge? Because like we said, we're expecting a kid now. So what do you think would be the challenges like nowadays, having a baby?
Well, for us in particular, I know one challenge is going to be shifting around things and getting balance into our lives, because us being full-time content creators, we go pretty hard with what we do. So we're going to have to find a balance between that. Like, I'm actually thinking about making a couple adjustments to my video release schedule and how things come out, and trying to spread things out a little more so I have more time, and, pre-recording videos and getting stuff done in advance so that when the baby does come, I already have content that can just keep flowing. Even though I may not be able to be on live, I'll still have stuff dropping remotely, and just trying to find that sweet point and balance of spending time with you, spending time with the baby, going to work, having a full-time job. Like, just trying to find that balance, I think, is going to be the first biggest challenge, just readjusting our lives, because when you add a new member to your family, everything changes.
Yeah, that is very true. And I think VG knows this more than anything, because like he said, he got 2 of them with a gap in between.
It's a like I said before with the technology, but it's like really with everything. It's just a balancing act, and just making sure that you give enough time to make sure that the kids feel your presence there. I always tell all parents, I say, the most important thing you can do when a kid is younger is just be there for them. It's crazy. Whenever I ask my kids, what memories do you have, like when you were a kid? A lot of them, I know my older daughter, she said, I remember one day I actually was doing for my full-time job, I do marketing and graphic design. So I was running one of the trade shows in Atlantic City, and one of the times I was doing the trade show, it was the day that I was coming back. That afternoon, she had a dance recital, and I told her, I said, Harley, I'm going to try my best, but I can't. If I can't make it, I'm just telling you in advance, like, I'm going to try, but I don't know if I'm going to make this event. And I made the event. I was able to get out early enough, and I made the event. She still remembers that to this day. And it's like, that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's something that a lot of parents like overlook. But it's really important, because they really remember those things. Of you just being at the practices, being at the recitals, being at the, if they do, swim meets or, softball games. My one daughter plays softball. They remember those things. And taking the time, it's really going to mean a lot to them. So I think that's something I could definitely throw out there. From with 2 kids, and they both, even my 6-year-old, she remembers everything. She's 6 years old. She remembers everything. but as I get older, the memories fade a little bit. But at this point, they're just sponges for that stuff, and it's something that it's really important to them that I've noticed. So
awesome. All right. So as the guy who is going to be the new parent, I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
So, as somebody who's going to become a biological father for the first time, what is the biggest piece of advice you would give me? We'll start with VG. What is the biggest thing that you say you've learned that you would give advice to a new father in the making?
Well, besides what I just said, that's really important.
Yeah.
Being there, making time for them. It doesn't have to be, a lot of parents think it's with physical and, gifted type of things. I feel giving the time and the attention, I think that's really, really important, and it can't be understated. And it's so funny because it's like, even if it's like 10, 15 minutes, to them, it feels like they remember it, it just stores in their bank, so I think just making the time, and it's not just like, oh yeah, I'm here. It's like actually giving them the one-on-one attention and giving them your undivided attention for that time. I think the other thing is, like you were saying, TJ, just really getting yourself mentally, like whatever you have to do, everybody's different, but getting yourself mentally in a routine eventually that you feel comfortable with, and if that means, like cutting, and like adjusting and trying one thing and adjusting, don't be afraid to do that. Just like do it until you find that comfort zone where you're giving them enough attention, but you're also giving yourself a little time at the end of the day. That's also important. We all want to be there for our kids, but we also have to give ourselves attention and time. We have to unwind because we're also working full-time jobs and we're doing content creation. We're also, going to all these different events and, side activities for the kids. So you also need a little time at night, even if it's like an hour or something, just to unwind and, get your mind reset so you can go at it again the next day. I think that's another thing that is really important, especially my wife. Actually, she works as a preschool teacher, so she really needs the time because she's around like 20 kids a day. Yeah, so, and then she's got to come home to 2 more. So, it's just having that time to unwind. And again, it doesn't have to be a significant amount of time. I'm saying like 4 hours, right? But even like just like an hour or an hour and a half or whatever, you can fit in, that you give yourself, some time just to unwind and reset for the next day, appropriate for the Reset and Zap.
Yeah, I was about to say, reset and
but,
zap.
just giving yourself mentally that time to reset as a parent, I think is really important because then it gets you ready for the next day, and then you can, give it 100%. You don't feel like, you don't have time for yourself. You're scheduling that in. And a lot of people don't. They're like, oh yeah, I'll just get that time. No, you have to schedule it in. So like schedule it in so that way every day you're gonna have a little time. Like with you, TJ, I know your passion is music. So giving yourself, after the kids are down and everything, just giving yourself like an hour and a half just to, do music or content or, watch me, I'm a big sports guy. So watching like a game or, half of it or something, just so you have that little time to reset. And then the next day you can continue being an awesome parent. I think that would be my advice.
Okay.
I agree.
I like it.
That might be the best piece of advice anyways, because I agree. Like self-care is so important. And like VG says, like sometimes you make the mistake as a parent that you're like, oh, it'll eventually come. And no,
it doesn't come.
It doesn't. Like there's always going to be something that's going to take your full focus, or is going to be your priority at that moment. So, if you don't make time for yourself, somebody is going to pretty much schedule the time for you.
Yeah.
So, just planning that time, like VG said, even if it's an hour, 30 minutes, like,
exactly.
Whatever helps you kind of unwind and fully charge yourself, then I say like stick to it. Like for me, it used to be like as something as simple like I would come back from work, I was stressed out. It would be as simple as like setting that time of going and taking that shower by myself, with no music, no nothing, just complete silence, just regrouping my thoughts. It could be a nice little bubble bath. It could be, maybe reading a book or anything that works for you. It's just setting that time aside for self-care, because like you can't really pour into somebody else's cup when yours is empty. So it definitely is important that, if you need to set yourself right, not only mentally, but emotionally, because I've made that mistake before as a parent where I'm overwhelmed and, my kid is, having issues or misbehaving or something, and it added up and I unleashed all of my anger on my kid, and it wasn't partially their fault. It was also other things I was dealing with that I didn't cope correctly with. And I just took it out on my kids. So, self-care is very, very important for sure.
And it just helps you. It helps you, like I said, for the next day, like you're willing to be even better the next day. Whereas otherwise, if you're just harboring it and not giving yourself any time, you're eventually, you just snap, so It's like just giving even just that little bit makes you better, in the long run.
Yeah, and I think the other thing I would add is communication. Like communication is key. If you're co-parenting with someone, with your partner, whatever it may be, like having that communication with your partner is key. Not only for like parenting styles or rules that you're going to set in the house or how you're going to raise your kids, but also as simple as delegating, splitting up, tasks between raising your kid, but also, being in on the same page when it comes to like both of us relationship wise, because you don't want to just set your focus all on your kids. And then relationship wise, it's kind of like diminishing because you guys are just living in the season of we're parenting, we're parents, but you're also a couple. So setting that time to spend time and nourishing, your relationship, your marriage, with your partner is also very important, because you're displaying that example to your kids. So your kids know like this is how a household is, this is how a wife is, this is how a husband is, and this is how they look, together as a couple, raising their kids. So you definitely want to take care of that because every detail counts. Because it's like my mom used to say, the kids don't only learn by what you say, but they learn by your actions. So displaying that good example, is very important for your kids to therefore take it for themselves later on in life.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot, but
it's like Zap says, like if somebody would told me back in the day, to me those are great. Those are things that's a really good foundation for you, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah, which leads to can we actually reset?
What's that reset? There you go, right there.
I totally forgot what the sound effect for reset is. Anyways, in our reset segment, let's put on our thinking caps and explore a little bit the taste and preferences of each one of us as we answer the ultimate question. If you can live in any said universe, which one would it be and why? And like I mentioned earlier, it doesn't have to be just video games. It could be movies, comics, you name it. What is that one universe you would do anything in the world to live in it?
All right, well, we will let our guests go first.
Oof. I'm excited.
All right. Oh yeah, this is great.
I have an idea what you might say, but let me see if I'm right.
Oh, okay. All right. No, I again, everybody that I don't know if everybody knows, but I am ever since I was a kid, I've always had a fascination with ancient Egypt. It's been one of my favorite things, just like the pyramids, the pharaohs, the scribes, just like the Nile River, all the temples and, everything like that. I've just always been so fascinated with it. To me, it's just such an interesting culture. It was so vibrant. There was so much like culture being spread, and their legacy still today. People still talk about just some of the things that went on in ancient Egypt. I think it was just such a fascinating time, like even just like the burial rituals, like learning about their culture, their art style, like the religious things that they had, just their style of clothing, like everything was just very interesting to me. So for me, I'd probably pick, if I had to pick a game where I actually just beat this on my Steam Deck OLED, which is really, really nice. I beat Assassin's Creed Origins, which is pretty much set. It's like a bounty hunter in an assassin in ancient Egypt, and you go around and you see like the Valley of the Kings, you see Giza, you see like all the different types of towns and like how they interacted with the Nile and how trades were going, and just kind of like, and then you would go into the temples and you'd see all the different hieroglyphs in the temples, and the priests doing all the all the different rituals, and how the people looked up and what trades they were doing to build all these temples and stuff for the pharaohs and the leaders of the civilization. I think that time would be really cool to go back to if I was like, let's say my trade was like either like a high priest or like a scribe, somebody who would actually do something like, and kind of not be in the lower level of it, but kind of be like middle class to upper higher class in that type of environment. I mean, the things that they've done, people we don't even know today exactly. We still don't know how their engineering was done, how they were so precise. We still don't know how they accomplished things thousands of years later. I just think, and that game really opened my eyes to it, because things that you see, like for me as an Egypt fan, I would always look at, now you see like the temples and the ruins without color. But in that game, they throw the color back on. This is when the civilization was thriving. So you see like everything pretty much built up, not as a ruin anymore, but as, a high standing tower, and, as everything pretty much as it would have been back in that day. And it's just super fascinating to me. And I would love to live in that time and just see how they did things, and again, there was always exciting. There was always like either conflicts or conquering going on. It was never a dull moment. It seemed like it seems like some sort of a civilization that I would really love to have, just have a time machine and go back for a while and just kind of see, what it really was like,
not just either a priest or a scribe.
Yeah, like either a scribe, as the person who does all the scrolls for the royal family, or like a high priest, because they were always very, important to the royalty. They always had to be close because they were the gods, and the Egyptians were very in sync. They did a lot of things in tribute to the gods because of the gods. So having like that sort of profession where you're in high standing in the civilization, and to the people with power, I think that would be really cool. So then you could really see the ins and outs and how that civilization really happened, not just guessing.
Gotcha. Yeah,
that's super dope. And it's actually funny you said that too, because I've actually started Assassin's Creed Origins not too long ago.
So good.
And I'm definitely enjoying it so far. And
it's one of my better ones. Yeah, one of my better Assassin's Creed games, I think.
Yeah, it's one of the modern ones that I really like the most. Of the modern Assassin's Creed, that's probably the one that I'm into the most. And I will give Ubisoft credit; they know how to create a world.
Oh yes,
that's the one thing Ubisoft has always been good at, is just creating an environment and just letting you live in that environment. Because like as you play through that game, you kind of get you like, oh man, this is really cool. Like how he's doing this and how they get to this, and they really do a lot of work into like making that world seem as real as possible.
Yeah,
it feels alive just by like the side characters, even the side quests. Like you really kind of learn more. Like they feel they do those, so you kind of learn more of the culture of how the people survived and how the class system worked and stuff. And it, like you said, it really breathes life into it. So.
Yeah, it is a fantastic game, and that is not actually what I was expecting.
I'm surprised actually.
But that was dope. I just knew it was going to be. I want to be a cowboy in Red Dead.
Oh, that would have been cool too. That's probably a close second. That would have been cool.
That's what I was guessing. I was like, he's.
I love John Marston. He's my favorite character.
That's why I was like, that would be my guess. That was my first guess if I had to guess. I was like,
that was really that would be like close second.
Yeah.
All right, what about you, Miss? Oh no, actually I'll go and then we'll let you finish.
Okay.
So
save the best for last.
Yeah, we'll say the best. We'll save the best for last.
Mine is going to be a little bit controversial.
Oh, okay.
Hey, that's good. That's good.
Mine's is actually not going to be what most people would assume.
Let me guess.
Oh, jeez.
It has something to do with a Master Sword music.
No. Not high. It's not Hyrule. I know it's not Hyrule because that's what we would expect.
Yeah, it's not Hyrule. It's not Hyrule.
Oh Lord.
I love Zelda games, but a world that I would actually want to live in, Hyrule is actually quite terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Like this
I don't want to.
Walking through the town one day, all of a sudden this giant pig demon cloud thing comes in and just swipes out the whole entire town, and then it leaves, and then it happens again every couple years.
You're like, there goes my luck. Oh, again.
Like here we go. Hyrule is only fun to be in if you're Link. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're like,
you would have to be like the main character in order for that world to actually
unlimited stamina. If you had unlimited stamina, go for it.
Oh God.
But the one I would actually pick, oddly enough, is I would love to live in the world of Pokemon.
Really?
Yes, I would.
Ooh,
I would
nice.
love, and not even as a trainer. I would actually like to be a researcher, like a Professor Oak or something like that.
Yeah.
I would love to be that, because the world, like, I would love to be like researching like all these different creatures and their abilities, and being able to see all these things and figure out all the cool things that they can do. And I would love to be like working for like a Professor Oak in his lab or something.
So you want to be an intern, like an apprentice, or
yeah,
you
maybe like an
want
apprentice.
to be?
I would eventually get to that point.
Okay.
I would work for Professor Oak, and eventually he'd be like, you know what, you've done such a good job, and it's my time to go down. So I'm gonna give you control.
TJ, you're on Project Meal. I'm putting you on Project Meal.
Yeah, it's up to you, man. Yeah, I want you to discover everything about Arceus. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
I've always been a big fan of Pokemon games. First of all, like I love Pokemon. I've played pretty much every game in the series at this point. And I get lost in that world when I'm playing it. Like I love finding the creatures, and I always name my Pokemon really cool stuff that I like. And
especially Legends.
Legends specifically is the one that I'm talking about, because the way they do their research is a lot different, because it's from an older, like basically the Arceus games kind of take place in like the past of Pokemon.
So
there's no like technology and all. It's more low tech type stuff. So like when they're doing research, they're just literally going out into the field, finding Pokemon, like observing them,
pitching
like
their tents.
Yeah, like just like taking notes and like writing stuff down, because there's no computers and stuff.
Gotcha.
Even the Pokeballs are not like technological; they're more like natural made.
Yeah, like the base, like the first Gen 1. Yeah, Gen 1 of it.
Yeah, like you gotta like build your Pokeballs.
Yellow, silver. Are we talking about?
You build.
That's
right. You build the Pokeballs from materials. You craft them. Yeah, you craft them.
Yeah, because like in the normal Pokemon games, you just go to the Poke Store or whatever, and you buy your Pokeballs.
Yeah.
And in this world, you actually have to find the materials and build them yourself and craft them and create them. And the Pokédex isn't some fancy computer that you just like, it tells me about everything. They actually write everything down. There's a professor that actually goes around and like takes notes, and you bring the notes back to him, and he will, all right, let's figure out what this is. And I love that world and how that works.
Zap, if you haven't played that game,
I haven't really been into. Let me rephrase. It's not that I'm not into Pokemon games. I just haven't been properly introduced. Like the last game I probably played back in the day was Yellow. So just to give you an idea. So I have not played Pokemon games ever since.
I would recommend Legends. I think
Legends is dope. If you were to play a Pokemon game, I would definitely say you should give Legends a try, which I do.
The game, like TJ said, the gameplay loop, just like you get hooked into the world. So yeah,
it was like an open world environment where you just running around and you actually you could actually just like sneak up on Pokemon, throw balls at them without even having to.
So is it more like an open exploration?
Yeah, it's more open world exploration.
It's like the map's like Monster Hunter, like old school Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it's like Monster Hunter. That's a good example.
Yeah.
Because it's like you go to like a zone,
region,
and then you can roam around that entire zone.
Zones.
Yes, I would call it open zone. I guess is what you would say. So it's like different zones, and once you go to that zone, you can find all the creatures that are in that zone. And you can go to this zone, you go to the mountain zone, or the peak zone, or the water zone, or whatever the case may be, and you just you get free access to roam that entire world and just do research on Pokemon, catch them, find crafting items, and do crafting, and talk to NPCs, and do side quests. And it's like a very open. It's Monster Hunter is actually. I'm glad you said that, because Monster Hunter is actually a really good example of that.
So it's funny because if I were to visit VG in his world, he would be either a high priest or a scribe, and then if I were to visit you would be a researcher,
Pokemon researcher.
Okay, so I might break the rules here. I'm kind of talking to myself into it and trying to figure out which is this one universe, because it's hard for me. So I'm going to break it down, and as I talk about it, it'll maybe help me decide which one, which I think I have an idea of which one I'm going to stay with. Okay. So, and none of these are worlds that you can easily guess, by the way.
Okay.
So one of them for me would be Cuphead. I love the universe of Cuphead. I think it's so vibrant, so colorful. There's so much going on. I even love the devil himself. Like, I just find it hilarious.
Hey, don't deal with the devil.
I would deal with the devil. I ain't gonna lie in this game, But, the casino. It's just everything about Cuphead is just so much fun. And even though
beautiful, it's a beautiful game.
It's a beautiful game. The music, it's just everything about it screams like, welcome to our world. Like, come to our world and live here.
Inkwell Island, Inkwell Island.
And me knowing the type of person I am, that I can easily get bored. I feel like if I were to live in Cuphead's universe, I don't have space nor time to be bored.
No, this is true. There's definitely always something going on that game. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, so, even if I were to spend time with, a Chalice, Cuphead, Mugman, or just by myself, I just feel like I would be able to build a life for myself. Like, let's say, as corny as it may sound, like being a farmer, just farming there and visiting the market and hanging out, on a cruise with these two frogs and having some dinner, it's just random stuff.
Fighting flower, just a fighting flower.
Yeah, just fighting a carrot for a day,
Exactly.
Turning it into stew, just normal stuff, everyday stuff. But yeah, Cuphead is definitely one of them. I'm a big Cuphead fan, so it's no brainer. I was going to choose this universe.
Nice.
The second world I would choose would be Stardew Valley.
I actually did get that one right.
Yeah.
I got that one right.
Yeah, so Stardew Valley, for those that haven't played it, it's your farming sim, but it breaks the typical standards of what a farming game is, because it's not just farming. Like, you can go mining, you can fight enemies, you can there's so much lore to the game too.
Relationship building,
there's like so much going on. You can play this game in however way you see fit, and I feel like me and Stardew Valley, it would be so much fun. One, I would be friends with the wizard, period. I would just visit him every day, just trying to see what weird.
Loves the wizard.
I love the wizard. I want to see what weird concoctions he's going to come up with, and then I'm going to test it. I'll be the tester. How about that? But you got what's the name of the island? I forgot. Ginger Island.
Yeah.
I can go vacay on Ginger Island. I can be friends with the parrots. I can just dive into the lore of Stardew Valley itself. I can kick JoJo out of my town. There's like so much going on that the options are endless. You can have kids. You can send your kids away. It is what it is. So Stardew, I would rock with it. But I think I figured out what would be my number one world.
Okay.
And so my number one world that I definitively would live in would be LA Noire. I love LA Noir.
Yeah, you do.
One, because I love anything 50s, 60s.
It's dope.
Dressing up in that time. Women were just so classy. Men were classy too. All like the music, the men in uniform, girls, you know where I'm going with
It's like the mafia. It's like the mafia. It's like the original mafia game too. That kind of world.
Yeah, and it's
so
just,
good.
I think I would have so much fun with what's his name? That's the only thing I forgot. I'm sorry, but the lead character, the protagonist. What's the name? I forgot his name.
I cannot think of his name.
But anyway, long story short, I would love to be a sidekick. Just going out there, fighting crime, cracking out, cases, figuring out. I love being a detective. Like, I think that would be my career. I would pretty much just work alongside with him and just be like an apprentice. And, let me figure this out. I'm gonna crack the code. We're gonna figure out, who's murdering all these women. We're gonna kick his butt,
In style.
Just in style.
And have a nice suit on while you do it.
Yeah, and I'm like a little big dress with a petticoat, little feathers flying out of my head and everything. I would be stylish, okay, during that time. So I just love everything about LA Noir. It feels classy, it feels elegant, and mannerisms are different. It just seems like a really fun world to live in. Like, that would be, I think it would, if I would choose
so many things going on. It's so interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like VG said, the same way you learn so much about like ancient Egypt, I would learn so much about just specifically that period of time. How women were treated. How marriage was back in the day. How everything was handled in the household. Simple everyday life to like technology advances. Vehicles, just history-wise, landmarks. It would just be a place where you have a lot of space to like learn. And I would like to learn from zero, because I don't want to go into that world living, my current state. Like, let's say I was in 2024 and I jumped into LA Noir. I think it wouldn't be as fun, because then I'm like, well, I know everything, that's going to happen now. So like, it doesn't really help.
You want to do like a clean wipe and just go back.
Yeah, like let's say I needed to escape from this world and I needed to go back in the future. I'll go to, LA Noir, change my name, start a new life.
Nice.
And then just start from anew.
Cool.
So yeah, if I were to choose one, LA Noir would be the one for me.
That's a good pick.
All
that
very
actually
good.
makes sense for you because you're a big history person too. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's cool that all of our worlds are so different.
Oh yeah.
Like VG will be a high priest and a scribe. You would be a research. I would be a detective.
Yeah.
Like it's
Nice.
I gotta catch them all.
Not only did we discover the universe we want to live in, but apparently we have also figured out our careers.
Yeah, man. It's cool now because especially thing that I'll do quick. They're actually right now in the actual like current times they're finding, they actually made an excavation where they found a tunnel that was 43 feet deep.
Wow.
And there's a tunnel that's 1,000 feet long.
Wow.
And they think that it could potentially be Cleopatra's burial space. So they said if it is, they said it could be the greatest discovery of the 21st century.
Yeah, I would imagine. That would be crazy to actually find Cleopatra.
I mean, because when they found King Tut, he was so young. When he died, he was only like 13.
Wow.
And he had all those treasures and jewels. Like, can you imagine Cleopatra, who was probably one of the most famous pharaohs ever in ancient Egypt? I mean, what she had.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy.
I can't even imagine. So yeah, just every once in a while, just check up on that because we could be experiencing a really big revelation soon.
Yeah, that would be wild.
That would be interesting. I'd be down to whenever they make this discovery.
I would love to see that. That's because they probably would find some like
it would be
things that you've never seen before in life.
Yeah. it's gonna be priceless. It'll be priceless.
Yeah. And to our listeners, now that you've heard our answers, feel free to pitch in and drop in the comments. What would be your
I can't wait to hear those. I'm gonna check all those out.
Oh
Yes.
God. Yeah.
That is going to be very interesting.
I want to read them all because I might be surprised with one or two answers and figuring out how people think. Because honestly, you know, like you said, I would have to imagine at first, oh, he's going to choose Hyrule. But now that you kind of broke it down, you know, like why you wouldn't, you know, it does make sense.
Hyrule is terrifying. Only way I would be in Hyrule is if I could be the main character. I would have to be Link or something. You don't want to be you don't want to be a random soldier in that world.
With the Master Sword and 20 hearts. There we go.
Exactly, yeah. Full heart, Master Sword, the unbreakable Hylian shield, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
The Triforce of Courage, you know, I need all of it. I gotta have all the power.
Souped up.
Okay.
You gotta be fully loaded.
Yeah, fully kitted out, 100%. 100% completed.
It's funny because, you know, people would think that I would have chosen Resident Evil, but I share the same sentiment as you. And that's even worse because I'm like, I love Resident Evil. I would not like to live in the Resident Evil universe.
Raccoon City is pretty tough. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty tough.
No.
Anywhere you show up, just zombies just come out of nowhere.
My only exception is, can we take Carlos out of that universe and bring him into the LA Noir universe with me?
I'm a Leon guy. I love Leon.
That's my favorite too.
I like Leon.
That's Leon. That's why you got the boy right here.
Oh God! But now, can we fast forward?
Here we go. Fast forward.
No, it's not me. I'm trying to be nice. I'm not making those sound effects.
I did it. I beat you to it because I didn't want you to do it this time. I was like, please stop doing that. So I think if I do it first, you won't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God! I just got a hater in the building. But anyways, in fast
Happy
forward,
wife, happy life, too.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we talked about parenting earlier, sir. But yeah, if fast forward, this is the most exciting segment for the podcast because we get to update you guys with everything that's going on within the ZapCristal universe, Reset and Zap podcast, the Master Sword music family, and so much more. So before I break down my announcement, I kind of want to hear from you guys. Like, what is the latest that's been going on? What projects you currently are working on? What are some things you guys are ready to share?
Okay, well, I'll start it off.
Okay.
Well, here over at Master Sword Music, we got a lot going on. Let's see where we at. About 3 weeks. Okay, so by the time you actually see this, we'll have just completed All About You, which is my last solo project. Which the full movie might or might not be out at this point. I'm not sure.
I think it might have been out at this point.
The movie might have been released at this point, but hope you guys have enjoyed that. You know, seeing the project to its completion.
I don't even have to see. I know I'm gonna like it. So either in the future or not, I know I'm gonna love it. ZapCristal did an amazing job with the videos on this. The full movie, I finally got to see the full movie, everything tied together with all the additional scenes, and she did an amazing. It's great. It really tells the story, and you really get a detailed look into the full story between us.
I am popcorn ready for it.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. So, right after that, my man Katetsu Tokai is going to be ready to drop his EP, Tokai and Friends Volume 1, which is featuring everybody from the Master Sword music family. We got VG's on there, Crystal's on there.
I think one of the songs is from ZapCristal's favorite universe.
Yeah. That is a thing. That is a thing.
Be listening to it day one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's, that probably look out for that. That's going to be very interesting. Right after that, then we'll be going into our next project, which will be from Miss ZapCristal herself.
Yeah.
Dropping Our Love Journey.
Oh.
Which is going to be a full album.
You just gave me my announcement.
Oh, that was you just going to do that one? Well, go ahead, then. You go ahead and take over then. Go ahead and take over.
Yeah, let's hear it from Zap's perspective. Yeah. You have the most insight.
Yeah, go ahead and take
Appreciate it. Yeah, so one of the biggest announcements that I'm excited for is, it's going to be my second album. People be like, second album? Yes, it is. Because long story short, my dad's a musician. So when I created my first album, I was like 17 years old, and I actually got to do it with my dad. So, I recorded with my dad, I wrote my own songs. I was a young thing back in the day, and it was a really dope experience. So now, after many, many, many years, I decided to come back and create a full fleshed out album. Now with the Master Star Music label, and it's going to contain 14 tracks. All written by me. I have, of course, you as a feature. You've helped me, write your parts, obviously. And the most exciting part about it is that we switch roles. So for All About You, I was your full director, and I got to, record the videos and kind of sketch out what the whole idea of the project was. But for this one, I didn't want to do it. So I kind of gave you the role of being a full producer and director for this. And,
Nice.
You're the one working on the videos now and kind of bringing this album to life. So it's going to be really interesting seeing somebody else interpret my album instead of what I originally had in mind, So I like seeing these things because one of my biggest challenges as a content creator is delegating someone else my baby. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this unfolds. So, it has a lot of variety. I can't really talk a lot about it. It'll probably be out by the time you guys are listening to this episode. And hopefully you guys like it.
Yeah. So yeah, Master Music, we got a lot going on, and we even got more to come. I can't talk about it yet. Can't give you guys specifics yet, but let's just say...
You can't spill a tea?
Let's just say that the trend of Master Sword music artists putting out projects shall continue.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that because, we're not going to put it out there yet.
You can't just put it all out there.
Towards the end of this year, I'm actually quite excited about this one because I was doing research on it the other day. At the end of this year, I will be releasing my 7th solo album.
That's crazy. But then again, it's believable.
Yeah, Return of the Hero will be... We're going to go back to the Legend of TJ series. All About You is kind of a spinoff where I wanted to kind of do my own thing for that album.
Yeah.
But I want to get back to where it all began, which is the Legend of TJ series, which will be this will be the 6th album in that series.
Gotcha.
Which is called Return of the Hero, where I get back to where everything began.
Back to your roots.
Back to the roots of how everything started and kind of building that out. And of course, everybody from the Master Sword Music family will be there. And we got a lot going on over at Master Sword Music. I'm really, really happy. I wish I could talk about more stuff because I can't. But...
Well, before we pass it to VG, it's really important what I was about to break down because I almost forgot this. But a part of the album, videos are continuing and being released. At some point, I might be taking a break because obviously the baby's here. So obviously I got to take that time to take care of the baby, take care of the family, recover obviously from, bringing a baby to the world, obviously. But yeah, regarding to like ZapCristal and the podcast, you guys probably are still listening to episodes as we speak and watching videos, even though I'm on a break.
So yeah, we're technically going to be on a break for a while, but content will still continue because we're working really, 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 really hard.
Yes.
To stack up a lot of content so that when we do take our break, you guys will still get videos from both of our channels. So we might be on break right now as we speak.
Yeah, we might be. Because I don't even know at this point.
We might be in the back, changing diapers right now as you're listening to this.
Feeding Leon.
But we're going to try to keep the content flowing. We may, make some adjustments, but, keep your eye open on our Twitter accounts and you'll kind of get the updates on how things may change. But we're gonna try to keep things moving along.
Nice. And what about for you, VG?
VG, man. I'm doing like TJ said, there might be, I might be starting to really put together a project. Can't really talk about it right now, but I'm just saying the initial planning and the initial stages are going really well. So when that's ready, I'll definitely drop it. I'm super excited for it. I also like ZapCristal. I did an album back in the day, and just like TJ's passion and energy and love for music. It just kind of inspired me to do something as well. So I'm definitely gonna look forward to that in the future. And then, I might start doing some more like regular content. Like I used to do like game reviews and maybe doing like some discussion videos and stuff on my channel. Start like doing more content again. Like I used to do. Now that I'm more like when I moved to my new house, there was just a lot going on and a lot of moving parts. So now that I'm like more settled in here, job is, normal. I have a schedule with that. And the kids, like I said before, balancing with the kids' schedule. I think I will have some time to do some like additional like content on the channel again. So that could be fun, to just kind of bring my perspectives and stuff on things.
Yeah, that would be dope. I would love to see your videos.
Yeah, especially I think I was also excited because I think Switch 2 is coming. So I think with Switch 2, I think that could be a good way for me to jump back in. And just kind of follow that ride.
Oh yeah, Switch Mob. Yeah, you got to represent.
Yeah. Just bring it over for Switch 2. I think that could be fun. I used to do like a lot of indie game reviews for games. Like I would get codes from some of the developers and stuff. They're really nice.
So it was very review based, I guess.
Well, yeah, it was reviewed. I was doing like a kind of a gaming podcast. I have a new concept that I might try out. More of like kind of like an interactive discussion. Kind of episodic based podcast where you get like special guests and you debate about topics, like that kind of thing. So I might throw that back into the fold. I think that's a project that I'd be interested in doing. And some different, like a different take on it. So I think that would be fun. We'll see what happens. But I think at this point I'm at the point where I could kind of do that. But definitely really, really excited about this future music project. And I think everything that's started so far is coming really good. You might hear some TJ and Zap on the record as well too. So make sure when the info comes out, you bookmark it and all.
Also, I guess if I may ask, if people are wanting to look you up, how can they find you?
Best thing is on Twitter, at VG Mobster, because right on the top of my profile is my YouTube channel. You can also search VG Mobster on YouTube as well. Probably the best places to go. Definitely gonna step the content up again. It's fun to do it, and I think now I have some editing techniques that will cut down the time a little bit, so I can be more consistent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it'll be exciting, especially with Switch 2 coming out. I think it's a good time to jump back in.
Yeah, as the leader of the Switch Mob, you got to hold.
That's it, man. You got to do it. Yeah, get some T-shirts out there and stuff, and there's nothing like, you guys know, there's nothing like the hype and the launch of a new console.
Yeah,
it's so exciting. It's so exciting.
And console wars and people fighting.
Yeah, I'm not even. I just full disclosure. I mean, I got Steam Deck, I have PS5, I have Switch. I have PC. So like wherever I can get the best games, I'm gonna play it there. I'm not super loyal to anything. You know what I mean? Like wherever I can get the best games, that's where I'm at.
Awesome. And also, where can they find us? Where can they find?
Oh yeah, I forgot. There's this really cool place, right?
Okay.
Gotta check this out. If you want to know everything that's going on ZapCristal related,
okay.
It's very complicated. So I'm
taking notes. Okay, I'm taking notes.
It's very complicated. All right. Where you need to go is this where you need to go.
Okay.
Go to your web browser.
Okay.
You put in www.
Not back in the 90s. We're talking about 2024. Okay.
Yeah, you go up to you pull up your Chrome or your Safari or whatever you use.
Okay.
And you type in www.zapcristal.com.
Wow.
All things ZapCristal. You can find out about the podcast. You can find out about when new videos are dropping. Okay. You can join that email list to get email updates on everything that's going on ZapCristal. When we will be turning to live stream, which we might be at this point. I'm not sure.
We probably are live streaming. I don't know where we're at this point.
It's so hard to record this stuff in advance because it's like, all right, where are we at now? Where are we at? Because by the time you guys hear this, we've already recorded the next 2 or 3 episodes after that. So. So I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to guess where we are, but
that's might why they need to join our email list.
That's exactly why you need to join the email list, because you'll get emails about when we're going live, when the podcast is coming, when videos are dropping. You you get that email list, you won't have to be confused like us.
Yeah, because we're pretty confused. Maybe we need to join our own email list. How about that?
Matter of fact, right after this, I'm going to go to www.ZapCristal.com and I'm going to get on that email.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just so we know where we are.
Yeah, that'll help me out quite a bit.
But yeah, guys, I want to appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. You could have been doing anything today, and yet you chose to stop, take the time, and listen to this episode and just being a part of the Reset and Zap podcast. Thank you so much. If you guys don't forget, to rate this show, to leave any reviews, give us feedback on how we can improve, what you've been enjoying. I constantly read those, and I'm making tweaks every single day as we speak. But I appreciate you guys watching and listening. And of course, I want to remind you, here we go. This is the season 2 prank. I know. I see you. I see you, bro. I know what you're trying to do. As always, I want to remind you to reset. God, Jesus Christ. And zap.
For the week. Yeah.
See, I told you this is becoming a thing in season 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna at the end of every episode of season 2, I'm gonna interrupt you for no reason. Yeah, that is my new thing. Thank you guys for watching.
I'll see you in the next one.
Peace out.
Take care.